Why are people nasty, negative? Why do they gossip? Why do they criticise? Why are people not nice? Why are people unkind, disrespectful? Interesting question, because we have a lot of people in the world now who are not very nice. Have you noticed? And the dawn of social media, the internet, where you can hide behind a screen and send nasty messages to people, write horrible comments, say terrible things about people, it seems to be getting worse just by observation. But what makes people do that? And I always ask this question because I get lots of nasty messages. I quite like, in fact, I love them because it reveals the person. If I think somebody's a nice person and then they send something nasty or they write a horrible comment about somebody, they've now revealed themselves as not a very nice person. So I like it. If somebody sends something nasty to me, I appreciate the fact now that I know who they are. But I always ask this question. As you're typing that nasty message, the swear words or the horrible comment about the way somebody dresses or the way that something about them that you don't like, and you write something nasty, you actually have to type those words. I often wonder what's going through somebody's head as they type those words, and do they read them before they send them? Like if you write a nasty text message to somebody where you're saying nasty, horrible, criticising, yucky things about them, do you read it before you send it, or is it an emotional thing where you just send it and then maybe you regret sending it? I don't know. But when I read nasty words, I just think, how do you actually type those words? If you call somebody a horrible name, you have to literally type those words. How do you do that? What's inside your headspace when you do that? Now, obviously, you must be emotional. So as an exercise professional, I always go to what causes emotion, and that's the endocrine system. And I always ask, would you like to be controlled by your hormones, or would you like to be in control of your hormones so that you are in control of your life? So if you write something emotionally, and that's the very interesting question, have you ever done that? Said something, done something in the heat of the moment when you've been emotional and then regretted it afterwards? Reverse, if you are in control of your hormones, regardless of how you feel, angry, frustrated, annoyed, you would still say to yourself, okay, I need to think about this before I do it. That's a healthy endocrine system rather than your hormones controlling you. So number one question, how do you get a healthy hormonal system? Of course, just have a healthy, fit, strong body. If you're really fit and if you're really strong, every system in your body will work more effectively, including your brain, and your endocrine hormonal system starts in your brain. So there's a great place to start. What do I need to do to get fit and strong so that I can be in control of my hormones? Second, my question is always, what kind of person do you want to be known as? Because everything we do and say, everything we wear, the music we listen to, the car we drive, the house we live in, everything is a representation of who we are. So my question is always, who are you? What kind of reputation do you want to have? How do you want the world to see you? And if you care about that, would you then be very careful about the words that you send out into the world, the messages that you put on social media, the photos that you share with the world? Would you be more careful? So interestingly, I'm standing in front of my library, and this library, I have several libraries, but this one is all people. It's stories, autobiographies and biographies of people who have done great stuff, sports people, athletes, musicians, movie stars, etc. People that have added value to my world. That's why they're in my library. It's interesting though, because there's a lot of books that have come out of my library that were there at one stage, because the person who I thought was a really nice person, or they were very talented as an athlete or a movie star or a celebrity, they did something really nasty to somebody else. And I won't have that in my life. I don't have nastiness in my life. I don't have negativity. So if somebody gets onto social media and says something horrible about somebody else, I always ask myself, why would you do such a thing? What you think about and what you do inside your own head is, of course, your own business. But once you share it with the world, once you write nasty things about people, it shows the world who you are. You're a nasty person. Now, people often share with me, oh, Rowie, I only did it one time. I'm not really that person. I was just in a bad mood, or I was just emotional, or all the excuses that people use. But I'm a bit harsh on that, because I don't think that a nice person can be nasty ever. I think that there are certainly nasty people who can pretend to be nice, or they be nice if they have to, or they be nice if everything's going great. But when things are crappy, when they're under pressure, when things are going bad, their real self is revealed. I think we are who we are, and we can pretend to be a nice person until. So there's my great question. Who are you under pressure? Who are you when things aren't going well? Who are you when you're tired, you're grumpy, you're hungry, your clothes don't fit you, you've got a lot of stress in your life? If you are a nasty person in those situations, and this is pure Rowie judgment, I think you're a nasty person, because I have too many beautiful people in my life that regardless of how much pressure they're under, or how tired they are, or how stressed they are, or what's going on, they're still really beautiful people. They don't let the world control them. Now, is that because they're healthy, fit and strong and they've got a strong hormonal endocrine system? Perhaps, I don't know, but I don't want to have nasty people in my life. So here's a great thing to consider. If you get a nasty message, rather than get upset about it, rather than let it hurt your feelings, and there's a big thing to take note there, a side note is a person can only upset you if you let them. It doesn't matter what somebody says about you, it cannot hurt your feelings unless you allow it to. So technically it's got nothing to do with them. They're just revealing who they are. Awesome. If you let it upset you, wouldn't that now be revealing who you are? That you allow nasty people to upset you. And there's another side note there, which is if somebody's trying to upset you, hurt you, offend you, and they do, then isn't that your challenge? Because they tried to do it and they did. If you are, and this is the funniest thing, have you ever been in this situation when someone's tried to hurt you, upset you, and you have just remained happy and positive? They tend to get even more upset because what you meant for that, or they meant for you to be angry and you're not. I'll just leave it at that. And I've got a very personal situation that happened to me I was only 13 years of age. I had two girls at my school bully me, and they went around, this is how they did it, because there was no social media back then. Of course, I'm an old lady. They went around my school and they asked everybody in the school to write on a piece of paper, if you like Rowie, tick yes, and if you don't like Rowie, tick no. And they handed me that big pile of paper. Now, these two girls were the most popular girls in the school. Everybody liked them, and the girls wanted to be like them, and the boys wanted to be one of the girls to like them. So everybody they asked said, yes, we don't like Rowie. So when I was given those two pieces of paper, one would expect that I would be upset. And my initial response as a small, I was only a teenager, I think I was 13, yes, that hurt my feelings. But I went home and thought to myself, they're the most popular girls in the school. They're the prettiest girls in the school. They're smart, they play sport, and they're picking on me. And I was certainly not any of those things. I wasn't popular, and I wasn't good at sport, and I wasn't very pretty. So I was thinking to myself, why would they pick on me? They must have a really horrible life that they would pick on somebody like me. And now as an adult, as we know, only weak people pick on weaker people. So strong people don't pick on anybody. I'm sharing that with you because if somebody's nasty to you, if they say horrible things about you, it reveals who they are. It's not who you are, it's who they are. So isn't that exciting? If somebody says something nasty, just say to yourself, now I know who you are. Woohoo! Now, you don't have to have that person in your life. If you happen to be a bully, if you happen to be writing nasty things about people, maybe before you send it, read it and ask yourself this question. Will I be proud of this tomorrow, in a year's time, in 10 years' time? Because that's the thing about social media. Doesn't matter how much you delete it and try and get rid of it, someone will still find it. There are computer hackers who can find everything you've ever typed, ever. And I'll just share that again as a side note. As an employer, a lot of people will share with me that their social media platforms, but I have people in my life who can search for what they've deleted from their social media platforms, which is who they really are. Because if you're capable of saying nasty things about people, then it means that you are a nasty person. That's just a simple observation, yeah? So whatever you're going to send out to the world, is it a representation of who you really are? Do you want to be known as that person? And if you say nasty, negative, horrible things about people, is it possible that that's the reputation you'll have? You'll be known as a nasty, negative, horrible person. And could that have consequences for relationships, for career opportunities, for business opportunities? And I think the answer's fairly obvious. So what if we just decide to be a nice person? Can you decide to be a nice person, or is it in your DNA to be nasty? Some people say that, oh, it's just in my family, we're all really nasty in my family. Well, I've got some nasty people in my family too, and I don't want to be like that. They are the reason why I don't want to be a nasty person, because I don't want to be like that. So however you live your life is completely up to you, but should we be aware that there are consequences to saying horrible things about people, and there are consequences to sending negativity out into the world. And I've got a very funny story for that. We used to have 5 colleges in Australia and 2 in New Zealand, classroom colleges. Of course we don't do that anymore, because what a silly way to learn, locked in the classroom with artificial light and air-conditioned air. But with classrooms comes public toilets, and with public toilets I had to buy toilet paper. And a lot of toilet paper used to get stolen. People would go to the bathroom and take a roll of toilet paper home. And I always used to think, and I said this to Cayman one day, that's pretty sad that people are stealing toilet paper. Maybe karma will catch up with them. And he made a great comment. He said, karma has already caught up with them. If you are stealing toilet paper, there's obviously something very wrong with your life. You are obviously not living your life to the max. You're not living your best life. So however you choose to live, if you are adding value to your own life and adding value to other people's lives, could that be a great way to live? And if you're adding negativity and nastiness and disrespect to other people, could it be that you're doing that to yourself and that you will be already living your karma? You are already injecting negativity into your life on a regular basis. Some interesting things to consider. I'd love you to live your life to the max, because what a great way to live. Live your life to the max. Super duper doo, how are you? Living my life to the max. Be nice, huh? Woohoo!